All right, what's going on, boys and girls? I know it's been a while since I've kind of done a video, and I have to kind of own that one. Really, what it boils down to is just life has been crazy busy, but I wanted to do something that I'd done a little bit of, which was some music reactions and a few other things. If you go back and look at my channel, you can actually find some. I've reacted to things like Upchurch and In This Moment, and For Mash at the New, and a few others. But I wanted to do kind of a cross section, ironically, of what this channel is about. So I'm a music guy. I like music. I listen to lots of different kinds of music, but I also like video games, and I love video games. And I've talked about video game music before. So I figured, what the hell? Why don't I do some reactions to some of this? So one of the first songs that actually got me really into video game music, which is ironically a Final Fantasy game, which of all the Final Fantasy games, this is not the one most people would think get you into video game music. Most people are like, oh, Final Fantasy VII has a great soundtrack, or like the Chrono Trigger soundtrack, etc. This is actually the one that got me really into video game music, and this is also the one that got me into expanding my horizons a little more when it comes to overall just the generic music as a whole. Because before I listened to this, and that's kind of all I listened to. And as I've gotten older, this was probably that aha moment of where you kind of expand your horizons, and your views on music kind of change. So this is a shortened version of the actual song that's on the album. This is 1,000 Words from Final Fantasy X-2. This is the HD remaster, so that way you don't have 2003 graphics. But the original singer was I'm probably going to butcher this because it was a Japanese singer, Kumi Koda, and the English version was done by Jade Villalon, who she was the lead singer for a project known as Sweetbox. Then left, did some of her own stuff, then came back as part of the project, but not the lead of the project. It's that kind of a complicated thing. But so this version is done by Jade, and let's get into it. Just a little background. So this character is the character that you play through all of 10-2. Her name is Yuna. 10-2 is a continuation of Final Fantasy X. So basically the entirety of 10-2 boils down to finding the main character, Titus, however you want to pronounce it, from Final Fantasy X, who is a dream, and I'll leave it at that. So this part is a concert that is being held in the Thunder Plains to placate some potential wars and brewing of factions that are going on. So let's continue.
I know that you're hiding things, using gentle words to shelter me. Your words were like a dream, but dreams could never fool me, not that easily. I acted so distant then, didn't say goodbye before you left.
That's just a reference to the end of Final Fantasy X. So anybody who's actually played Final Fantasy X will understand the lyric to that ending, or that lyric about the ending.
But I was listening. You'll fight your battles far from me.
That particular one, it can be interpreted a few different ways. The main character from 10 is actually Titus, again, however you want to pronounce it, is from Xanarkid, and Yuna is not shall we say. So physically, yes, they are far apart.
Far too easily. Save your tears, come back. I could hear that you whispered as you walked through that door. But still I swore to hide the pain when I turned back the pages, trying to find a different answer.
So these two characters are the other PC, like other playable characters in 10.2. Short-haired, black outfit is Pain with Paine, and then you have Riku, Rikku, who is actually Yuna's cousin. And if you want to get that deep into the game's lore.
What if I cried my eyes out and begged you not to pause? But now I'm not afraid to say what's in my heart.
There's a lot, the problem with this is there's a lot going on. So that transformation from Yuna to like a long-haired version of Yuna, the long-haired version is, I believe, called Len. I'm probably butchering the name, and the male is Shinyu. And they there's a connection between Titus, Yuna, and Len and Shinyu. So I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away of the story, but there is a connection. So that shift in character actually plays a part in the story. So this scene coming up will actually give kind of some background into the motivations of the character that looks like Titus to kind of give their reason and their motivations if you actually decide to play 10.2. And I'll kind of gives you background subtly in the way they do the exposition for the game is a little different. So all right, so short version of that, I'm not that ballad for some reason really got me into looking at different ballads, different video game music, and taking video game music in kind of a different view. And ironically, then it's like I ended up getting into the intro song to Final Fantasy X, which is like a heavy metal kind of Rammstein kind of feel to it. So video game music is so different and so far, so wide and varied that most people don't give it its due. So if by me doing some video game music reactions, kind of spreads the love a bit, and kind of highlights a lot of the music that is available and out there, and how much depth and how much there is to love about music that can be shown in such a medium, because again, video game music, it doesn't get a lot of the love it does. You hear a lot about like, oh, this movie soundtrack is good, and take your pick, Duel of the Fates, and all the other stuff that most generic people can name. Not a lot of people can name like specific video game music unless you're inside the gaming industry, culture, and that kind of stuff. To me, that's a shame. So I would highly recommend checking out the original version of this if you want the Japanese version. Again, this is the English version, mostly specifically because this is the one I remember. There's nothing against the original version or the 6 minute, and 10-second version. But this is what got me into video game music. So take what you will from it. I still love this song even now. I might catch some flack, but hey, whatever. You like what you like. I will say that the J-pop song that you get introduced to in Final Fantasy X-2, not my cup of tea. But like as far as like ballads and that kind of stuff, I'm still a sucker for this song. So check out the English version, artist Jade Villalon, or Jade from Sweetbox, as most people find it. Definitely worth checking out. So I'm still going to recommend this song. I'd actually recommend checking out basically both soundtracks for both of these games. So I'll catch you guys on the flip. Indie Gala, Patreon, all that stuff down below. Catch you later. Peace.